Chirag, we are live.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll give everyone a minute to get in. So if you see on the bottom right-hand side, there are 9 dots. If you can drop where you're from or what you're hoping to get out of this session, that'd be a great place for us to start. And we'll get started. I call it the Realtor 3. We'll give everyone 3 minutes just to hop in here, and we'll get started. But let's see where you all are in the country and both what you're hoping to get out of here, right? I think what we're talking about today is fundamentally one of the most important conversations an agent can have. So I would love to tailor this and make sure that we can get to all of your questions. So just drop in the chat what you're hoping to get out of here today in the investment of your precious time. Texas, Jersey. So if I could wave a magic wand, Missouri. How to structure price reduction calls, Philadelphia. All right, we got a new agent here. Vegas, now we're talking. All right, guys, let's drop our takeaways. What do you want to get out of this besides the price reduction conversation? So I will tack that on in the end. But if you do this first part right, you don't have to actually get to the second part. All right, let's get started. Facts, not feelings. Supporting sellers to list at the most effective price. Before I introduce myself, I want to go through what I believe is the most important part of this conversation, and it's actually you. I remember, as you can see me holding my real estate sign up. I sold real estate for 14 years, and I can remember how many times I've showed up to listing appointments. I had an amazing plan, lots of work I could do. And, you know, we always want to meet our clients where they are, whether it's realistic or unrealistic, and then how much work and mental fatigue overpriced listings took. You know, as human beings, we don't focus on the things that are always going well. Our brain is drawn to the things that are not going well. So for everyone's mental health, I always say, don't end up with the wrong clients. You have every right to say no. You don't have to work with everyone. Everyone doesn't deserve your time, your energy, your resources. And the more that you can say no to the wrong clients, the more space and better service you provide to those that say yes. So as we go through this conversation today, we're going to go through scripts, tactics, a new framework. And unless you're one of our clients or been one of our clients, this is a framework that you've never ever heard before. I joke around, if you've ever seen the movie Slumdog Millionaire, you can call me Salim, because this is a culmination of all these unique life experiences I have. And so for those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Chirag Shah. I'm the founder of Chirag Shah Coaching. My fundamental belief is my job is to unlock your promise. We believe that people have a promise inside of them, and we have a key, and we want to unlock it. As you can see, it's myself, my partner, my 2 kids, and look, these are the moments that matter, right? So how does this have anything to do with real estate training? It's really simple. When your business runs on systems, structures, processes, and you have a filter to put the right things into your cup, you have more time that really matters in your family. And I've been a Compass exclusive employee coach since 2018. And the reason I share this picture, and I was actually sharing some Compass history with Alessandro before you all hopped on, this was actually the first all New York City sales meeting of 2020 before the pandemic. It was one of the last times that all of us were together at the old Compass headquarters at 95th Avenue. And I was honored to have the one real estate training slot in that all New York City meeting. And it's a day I'll never forget. The room was packed all the way back to the elevators. And the reason I share this with you is for the last 7 years and 17,000 plus hours, all I've done is coach Compass agents. I don't know why people work at other brokerages. I don't know what they offer. And the only reason that this is important is I've never spoke to anyone outside of Compass. So I've worked with some of the most successful agents at this company in the country. And I always say coaching is the solution to everyone else's problems. So what I'm sharing with you today are things that are time proven, tested, and work for thousands of people. So if you choose that this philosophy aligns with you, it will work for you too. So our goal together for today, the sole purpose today is helping the sellers position their home effectively, right? And you notice I use the word position versus price. And so we will get into why those words really make a difference. But there's this saying in life, and it's one of my favorites: how it starts is how it goes. And the way that we start this conversation is the single most important thing to the outcome, right? We want collaboration, not competition. You ever notice when you go on a listing pitch, you're saying things to help the client. They brought you in to do a job on their side of the fence, but yet they don't want to give you information. They want to be resistant to your advice. And the question is why, right? The anomaly are the people that are like that. The norm are the people that want to collaborate. But the difference in the gap is the words we use, the visuals we provide, and the way we create a collaborative conversation, not a lecture. Just remember this: someone that's selling their house, what are they thinking about? I call it life listing integration. How can I do this when my life's already busy? How does this integrate in my life? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to find a place? What's going to happen to my kids, my dog, myself, my partner in the process? What do we hear? Alessandro wants to sell his home. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And by the way, this is what your house is worth. It doesn't really work, right? Because you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, but you think a lot of times when you go on these appointments, we have 2 mouths and 1 ear. So let's go through a framework I want you to follow. I call these the 7 keys to effective conversations. And if you can master these 7 keys, you can get the desired outcome you want 90% of the time, and the 10% that you don't get are the clients you don't want. So key number 1, it's always their choice. I can't go to Alessandro and say, Alessandro, I'm coming to your house, to your apartment today at 4 p.m. and you're going to list your house. I can't say, Alessandro, you're going to come into my office today at 12 p.m. and you're going to buy a house. No, what a person selling their home to do is their choice. The price, the marketing, the agent they choose. And the sooner that we can understand that, we can get to key number 2. The person asking the questions controls the entire conversation. You want a better outcome? Create better questions. Number 3 and number 4, everything always has to be in the benefit of the other party and always be in agreement. So someone wants to overprice their home. Chirag, how could that possibly work? Great, Alessandro, so I hear you want to maximize the equity in your home, and based on us having what you had said earlier is the best marketing plan, we could set a record in your neighborhood. Yes, they're in agreement. That brings us to key number 5. No telling, no explaining, no being combative. As soon as you do this, all the rapport, all the trust that you work hard to build goes out the window, and they just look at you as someone, they just want to sell my house and make money. Right? So what do people think? You're the agent that wants to sell my house in the fastest amount of time for the least amount of money for the highest amount of commission. That's what people really think, right? So when you get into price and they tell you their home is special, like, well, the neighbor's home's like this and they have an updated kitchen, and like, you're gone. Number 6, never show you're attached to any specific outcome, and it goes directly back to number 1 is what somebody does is their choice. So how can you be attached to what another person does? That's like having an expectation of another human being that they have to be a certain way. No, the decisions and choices they make are theirs. We cannot be attached to how people feel, right, and what they choose to do. And number 7, what they choose to do does not mean you have to compromise, and that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. If they want a discount, that doesn't mean you have to compromise. If they want to completely overprice their home, doesn't mean you have to compromise. If they want an agent that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we went back to moments that matter, and it's about family and our personal lives as well, you don't have to compromise. No is a full sentence. No, do you have any other questions? That's it. So now let's take these keys and let's talk about a new game plan: challenges and opportunity. Sellers are emotionally tied to their homes. 100% a fact. What's the opportunity? Get them aligned on facts, not feelings. They have a price in their mind. Help them understand what other buyers are willing to pay for homes. They ignore the market analysis. Help them understand what their neighbors are willing to accept for homes. Won't sell if they don't get their price. Help them understand why today is not the time to sell. A lot of clients just need honest advice. How many people, who really wants random strangers going through their house at any time with little no notice, and all of their information, their rooms, their access points all over the internet for nothing? Absolutely nothing. No one wants to be a career listing, right? That it's not like a way to live, because when your house is on the market, if you've ever sold your house, you're never really at peace. It's never really your home because it has to look like a hotel room. All right, let's go through our timeline. This is the roadmap and milestones to successfully getting sellers to list an effective price. Number one, it's this concept of pricing versus positioning. Number two, it's sharing the market and not lecturing them. Number three, it is handling objections. And number four, it's aligning on a plan. Now, this to me is a very straightforward conversation. We're going to get through this. And my promise to you is at the end of this, I don't care what scenario you have, whether it's getting a price reduction, a difficult seller, I will go through in the time that we have as many of these questions with actually what you'll do in this scenario. So this is going to get really tactical. Pricing. When we introduce the conversation, we're going to talk about how we're going to price your home. We're going to go through the CMA. We're going to go through a market analysis, right? When you start getting into that, first of all, no one knows what a CMA is. A market analysis is subjective to what somebody thinks and what their past experience is. And the word pricing implies a winner and a loser, right? There is nothing collaborative about pricing, right? They think you're the agent that wants to price their home for the least amount of money, sell it as fast as possible for the highest amount of commission. Changing this one word, and we've done this with thousands of clients in all markets, regardless of price point. Changing pricing to position your home on the market changes the entire seller's experience. It's more luxury, it's more elevated, it's collaborative, and it's aligned with the seller's goal. So if I'm about to get into the CMA, I'm going to say, Alessandro, always write these words down. Would it be okay? Would it be okay allows the other person to always be in control. That's how they're going to feel, right? Alessandro, would it be okay if we talked about how we can position your home on the market to maximize its equity? Remember, always an agreement, always in their benefit. And Alessandro,
Sure.
what would you say? Sure,
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we go into this next thing. Now, I have a Compass PDF like branded for this. It's like Compassified. It looks like it was made in Marketing Center. We will give this to you in the recap and recording so you have it. Put this in your listing presentation. Now, I would say to Alessandro, you're going to be my seller here. Like, Alessandro, before we go through positioning your home on the market, would it be okay if we aligned on one simple concept?
What would that be?
Would you agree that there are things that you can control as the owner of the home, things that I can control as the agent you partner with, and ultimately things that neither one of us can control?
Yes.
So can you control the asking price at which you list your home?
Yes.
Can you control the condition of which you present your home on the market?
Yes.
Can you control the terms in which you offer a buyer to purchase your home?
Yes.
And lastly, can you control the accessibility, how easy or difficult you make it for buyers and or their agents to get in the home?
Yes.
Do you feel that there's anything else that you could control as the owner of the home?
Those are the most important ones, in my view.
Got it. Now, as the agent you choose to partner with, can I control the visual story that we tell of your home?
Yes.
Can I control the marketing and advertising strategy and execution?
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay, good. Can I control the negotiation strategy once we have an offer?
Yes.
And lastly, can I control the communication and customer service to ensure you have the exact information in a time frame that works best for you?
Absolutely. Yep.
Feel as the agent you partner with, is there anything else I can control?
No, I don't think so.
Got it. And ultimately, there are things that neither one of us control. Can either one of us control world events?
No.
Can either one of us control the local economy?
No.
The stock market?
Nope.
What the Fed decides to do with interest rates?
Nope.
Now, here's where the money is, guys. Can either one of us control the prices your neighbors are willing to accept for their home?
No, not unless you're extremely close with your neighbors, but no.
Yeah, and neither one of us own all the properties in your neighborhood, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And lastly, Alessandro, can either one of us control the prices buyers are willing to pay for homes?
Say it again.
Can either one of us control the prices buyers are willing to pay for homes?
No.
So ultimately, would you agree it's a collaboration of what you can control and a partnership of what I can control versus and against what no one can control?
Yes, 100%.
All right, I want to see in the chat, what are your takeaways and what did I just do there with Alessandro? So Alessandro, what did you get out of this, right? If you were a seller?
I got more clarity on what I can actually control and what you and I as a team can actually control in this market.
Yep. Anyone
And
else?
we also established, kind of grounds for how we can collaborate during this process.
Exactly. I want to hear from the chat. I'm not going forward till I hear from what some of you have to say, because this is the most important part in this entire thing. Guides on expectations. So number one, we establish role clarity. Have you ever wondered your clients have no idea what you do? So once you defend the market, you own the market, right? Limiting the seller expectations. I think you did a great job establishing what your relationship defines what each of you actually control. Yes. A summary of what to expect in the beginning of the collaboration. I just made this a partnership, right? And the other part is when you go and say, well, that home sold for this and this and this, guess what? You just became the punching bag, right? 100%. Now, all of these things will play into the next part, right? So now think about this. Alessandro, you're now all pissed off about what your neighbor sold the apartment for. Like, they gave the apartment away for less and everything else. Like, I can't believe they did this. The home's not like worth this much money, blah, blah, blah. Now this is gonna ruin my price. And you know what? Normally agents are like, well, that's what they did. And you know what? I'm gonna smile and say, I'm just gonna not smile, but I'm gonna say, you know what? It's really terrible what your neighbor is willing to accept for their home. What do you think we should do? Let's come up with that together. Done. There's the end of the whole conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to explain anything because I don't control it and they understand I don't control it, so they no longer can blame me. There's a really important concept in great marketing. It's called the us versus them. If you can't identify the enemy and anything happens, you are the enemy. I've sold real estate. You've all sold real estate. You understand everything that goes wrong. It's like everything that's said or said. It's like it's like anything you say or do will be held against you in a court of law. It's like anything that happens in the sale of a home will be held against you because you're my real estate agent. That's not the case with this, because you've established the most important thing that 99% of agents don't do. It's called role clarity. People have no idea what you actually do. So now let's go through the next part. We talked about sharing the market, and we're going to go through the formula for success. Number one, you're going to share the market, right? We are not going to lecture people. We're going to guide the conversation. See, if I ask you a question and you provide the answer based on data, subconsciously in your mind, you register it as a true because it's your own words. Now, if I tell you something and your fear, doubt, limiting belief, and worry says, you're the agent that wants to sell my house as fast as possible for the less amount of money for the most amount of commission, you're not going to believe anything. Like, you don't. Now, watch this. And you can't be tied to the outcome. So for all of you that do CMAs, and this is why we encourage you to practice, now watch this. See my stopwatch here? Let me show you what this feels like. All right, my point was made. Look, that was 1 minute and 3 seconds. Did that not feel like a long time? Now, some of us go on these epic tangents of this is this home, this is this, this is that. That's what it feels like for the seller, right? Remember what the seller wants: life, listing integration, where am I going, what's going on, am I going to get the price for my home? Like, there are all these different things, and we're just like, we're talking too much. 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? I define sales as having effective conversations, helping other people get what they want, right? So we need to guide the conversation. So we're going to talk about how we actually do this now. So hit yes in the chat if this is tactical and specific enough for you, because what I told Alessandro is this will be one of the more tactical sessions that you've ever seen, because in the end, the only thing I care about is that what you do when you leave here, and that this gets easier for you and better for you, and it eliminates your stress, and it's able to help you like position people's homes so they sell, and that you guys are able to earn more commission. So I would like to hear yes, no, maybe so. Sharing the market, not lecturing your clients. Okay, so how do we have this conversation, and what's the script that we use? So the script starts off like this. There are 3 key drivers and indicators that we want to really look at when establishing how we position your home on the market. Days on market, that's how long it took a buyer to be interested in going to contract for the property. List price to sales price, what the seller wanted versus what the buyer is willing to pay. The sold price, ultimately what your neighbors are willing to accept for a home and what other buyers are willing to pay for a home. Does that sound good? So now, normally the way that we present comps is, whether it's a CMA, whether it's a collection, we just start talking and explaining things to people. So we're going to take this stuff. Ideally, you're going to want a large iPad. I'd turn this around to Alessandro. I'd be like, is it all right if I come around to your side? I would sit right next to him. I'd say, do you recognize this home? Look at the pictures, right? Like, get an idea in your mind, like what's similar to your house, what's different than your house. He's going to say, okay. So Alessandro, how many days did that take to sell? 15. What was the list price to sales price? 97%. Okay. So Alessandro, you're saying that a buyer was able to negotiate a 3% discount. Yes. And ultimately, what did that home sell for? 970. What was it listed for? $1 million. Got it. Go to the next one. I would do the same thing. I'd make it conversational. How do you feel this home is similar to yours? How do you feel it's different to yours? I'd go through those same 3 things, right? And then in the end, you have the summary, right? Days on market, list price to sales price. What, Alessandro, so what is the average? What does that say over there? Oh, 14 days. Okay, got it. What is the list price to sales price? 98.5. So in this area, buyers currently are negotiating 1.5% discount. Is that what you said? Keywords, is that what you said? Yes. And the last one, ultimately, homes are trading at $985,000. Yep. Great. So now you go to the next step. So if you were putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer and you're objectively looking at this, what range would you put your house in? Why? You see if they answer first. If they're like, no, Chirag, that's what I brought you here for, I would say that based on the homes, these are the things that you had shared was different. These are the things that are similar. I would list it at this range, and here's why, and I provide range. I'd say $950 to $1 million. Right? 950 will create a bidding war. $1 million is the top end of its price point. Based on what your neighbors are willing to accept for their home and what other buyers are willing to pay, the home should trade around $985,000. Would that work for you? And that's as simple as it is. Right now, here are all the objections. I'm not here to glorify reality. My home is different, right? I love this objection. Because here's what happens. This is where people just fold. They start talking too much. They get nervous. Their tonality changes. Their physiology changes. Their shoulders go in. And I'm going to say, okay, great. Like, so what do you feel makes it different? And when this objection comes up, or my home is special, I have unique upgrades, I have things in my home that the other homes don't have, you're going to say, great. Remember key number 3 and 4, always be in agreement, always be in their benefit, right? And you're going to say, all right, great. You know, what price do you feel that we should position your house on market? 1-1. Okay, perfect. So Alessandro, what I hear you saying is you want to maximize the equity in your home, and based on us having the best marketing plan, you think we could set a record? And they're going to say, yeah, absolutely. Or This is my favorite one to be doing. Start bringing a yellow notepad to your listing presentations. Why a yellow notepad? And I'd make it like 8.5 by 11 one, the long one. Those are called legal pads. That implies that it's something important. You can say, you know, Alessandro, I actually brought my notepad so that we can justify the price to buyers and agents, and I'll make sure to put this in our marketing and share with every agent before they come. So let's walk around your house and list out what specifically you did and how much you invested into it. Now, remember, part of pricing goes back to the home tour, not over complimenting people. I could do a whole nother session, and with our clients, we do that. But say we're here now. I'd walk around the house. Do not compliment them while you do this. You have to be very matter of fact and be professional. Oh, I put this custom closet in. Okay, how much did that cost? $10,000. I did this. How much did this cost? How much did this? So you're saying these are the things you did. This is how much money you invested. And because the other homes don't have this, we should be able to justify our positioning on the market of 1.1 million. Alessandro, what would you say?
Say again, Chirag.
At the end, if I walked you through, I priced out all your updates, I wrote them down, I wrote the thing down, and I went along, right? It's a process, not an event. And I said, so Alessandro, you feel that these 7 things make your home unique, and this will justify the price to agents and their buyers at 1.1 million, different from what other buyers are willing to pay for homes?
Yeah, I would say yes. We should definitely do that. I think those additions brought added value to the home.
Now watch this. This is what's called a level shift. Now we're going to change the whole conversation. And you notice like that these homes are always homes that are dated with special updates compared to turnkey homes. And it's normally always anywhere from $100 to $200,000 more people want. So now watch this. Alessandro, if we're objectively looking at this through the eyes of the buyer, would it be fair to say if we're providing you these credits, we also have to consider the credits to provide a buyer to put your home in the same condition for some of the key areas as the other? So how much do you think it would take to upgrade your kitchen to the other one? Oh, this much money. What about the buyer? What about the bathrooms? Oh, this much money. What about difference? Like, and you go through this, and 90% of the times the numbers cross out. Their updates are minor updates. Most things you have to do are major updates. And then it's going to say, if you're looking at this objectively through a buyer's eyes, and I brought you to this listing at $1 million that had these upgrades, this home at $1.1 million that had also these unique features, and I asked you to buy this house for 1.1 and not the other one for $1 million, what would you think of me and why? And then at that point, they're forced to realize how bad it really is. So if I sold you this house at 1.1 million when you could have bought another one that had an updated kitchens and baths and a bigger yard size for $985, but this home had the special updates, would you be happy with me? Would you want to fire me? Did you think I was just trying to get a quick sale or more? And it forces them to own the answer as their own. Very different process. Now remember, I never disagreed with them. I never said anything. All I'm doing is giving them options to make a choice. Now here's the next objection. Can't we just list at a higher price? Absolutely agree. So you want to maximize the equity in your home, and Alessandro, you feel because we have the best marketing plan that's possible. Absolutely. All right, let's just go back. I'm 100% aligned on doing this. Alessandro, if we look at this again, how many days on market was the average to sell in your neighborhood? 17. Perfect. So we will do our whole 3-phase marketing approach, and we'll put all of our energy, intentions, and resources into those 17 days in setting a record. But would it be okay if we aligned after 17 days, if we don't have an offer that you're happy with, that we will improve the price to $985 to align with what other buyers are willing to pay for homes in this neighborhood? That's it.
Sure.
And if they don't want to do that, that brings you to the next objection. I'll only sell if I can get my price. And you're going to say, framing the conversation is the context in which you set the conversation. Remove the frame, it doesn't make sense. So what you want to do, especially in pricing conversations, say, hey, Alessandro, completely understand. What I hear is you're only sell if you get this price. And you're going to say yes. And you're going to say, look, I'm going to give you a few different options, and whatever you decide to do, just know I support you 100%. That gives the person the ability to be wrong. They can say anything they want. It doesn't feel like you're pushy. You're going to say, let me ask you a question. What specifically will happen for you if you sell at this price? He's going to tell me because they've already made up the price and they spent the money. Got it. I'd repeat back to them, okay, so you're able to do blank, 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 and blank. Okay, no problem. Alessandro, if you're not able to sell at this price and you had to sell at $985 based on what other buyers are willing to pay in this neighborhood currently, what would not happen for you? That's the fear, and that's really the objection. And you're going to say it, and I would repeat it back, a few words like, okay, so you're not going to be able to move, or you'll have to take some additional funds out of your stock portfolio, which you don't. And I'm going to say my last question is, what's your plan B if the home doesn't sell at this price? And I'd just be quiet, right? And then based on what they say is where I'd guide the conversation next, right? And so like, Alessandro, are you aware if my plan B is I don't have to sell the house? But okay, so really what we have to discuss is this. If you're not able to get this price, one, are you aware of the negative consequences of listing and it not selling? And B, are you aware of the exact things that have to happen for your home to sell at this price? And they're going to say no and no, right? So number one, I would have like a listing that has been on multiple times on the market, just saved in my listing presentation. Everyone knows that, like, home that went on the market 4 times and went less and less and less. And then I would say something like, imagine you saw an amazing cake in a bakery, but that cake was there week after week after week. What would you start thinking and why? Eventually you'd start thinking there's something wrong with it, right? How could a beautiful cake be here? So the longer your house sits on the market, the more people think that there's something wrong in it that you can't see in the picture, so the agent might not be telling you, or may not tell you, right? And the other part's plan B. So right now, it's slightly a buyer's market. As you can see, the prices are being negotiated. If we go back 4 years ago, it was a seller's market, and homes were going above what sellers wanted, right, in bidding wars. So essentially, we would have to have then a limited supply of inventory similar to this market, and this is why it's good to know absorption rate and all these other statistics of a market. And you might have to wait 2-3 years, and then the homes would appreciate. When inventory is down, buyer demand's high, homes start getting bid up, and that's the way that appreciation happens. So based on that and your goals, your unique goals, what would you think will work best for you? And again, I'm happy to support you 100%. Now, Alessandro, you can tell me I'm full of you know what. How did that feel for you?
I felt like my demands were met. I felt like we had a good rapport, and we worked out each other's goals.
Did you feel like that I was trying to push any one solution on you?
No, you gave me a good set of options so that I have a broad sense of what the possibilities actually are.
Yeah, and for everyone, for the 137 of you here today, this is facts, not feelings. I don't control I don't own all the homes in the neighborhood, so I don't control what I list and people pay. I don't control what buyers are willing to pay for homes. That's the open market, right? I don't control any of those things. So, and again, what they choose to do with their home and how they position it or price it, it's his choice. It's then my choice if I want to support a bad decision, right? You know how easy it is when these people start getting frustrated, the house doesn't sell. Guess what happens to overpriced listing? No amount of money will sell an overpriced product or service or listing. If that was the case, Hermes would charge more money than they already do today, right? Luxury brands more, they have way more resources. They're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on ad campaigns, some of these companies, right? Now, if you go to the next part in this, you also realize that you have a choice to walk away. Because all they're going to do is call, they're going to complain, they're going to call you frequently, they're going to want to know why there's no showings, they're going to know why you don't have feedback, they're going to want to know why they need to have more people view their listing, they're going to ask you to do more and more open houses. Like that does anything. 8% of homes sell through open houses. Like it's not an effective marketing tool. It's actually better for agents than it is. And the only time you should do an open house is when you're new to market or you have a price improvement. So it's not good for you. And you're spending time, money, and resources. You're losing money. If every one of you cut out one unrealistic seller that will take easily 50 hours of your time and thousands of dollars, and you spent that time calling people you knew and did business with in your database, you'd have another 3 or 4 deals, 100%. I call this Chirag's law of addition by subtraction and simplification. It's all that it is. All right, so let's walk through some success principles and then we'll get into the Q&A. Look, you'd have clear goals when it comes to this, right? So the first part is having the pricing versus positioning. The next part is the keys to effective partnership. The part after that is mastering how you share the market, right? Then after that, it's mastering those 3 key objections. Commit to the process. So this is where we talk about activity over outcome. Your brain is programmed for 2 primary needs, certainty and comfort. So every time you try to do something new, it's uncertain, uncomfortable. And when we have outcome-based time blocks and thinking, we're forever going to disappoint ourselves because we have not done things long enough that we actually know what the outcome is. So you need to focus on going deep, not wide, right? Becoming an expert at this part of it is huge. If I were all of you, given the way the market is, I'd be spending 30 minutes a day role-playing with somebody in my office about this. And for everyone's like, well, but we compete on listings. Just make an agreement. The statistical probability minus a few agents in a few markets that consistently go against each other, it's this big for you to like actually be on the same pitch together. It's this much you have to gain. So if Alessandro and I are in the same office, like, hey, let's just practice this every day and watch this recording, pull the scripts. And if we ever have to go on the same pitch, let's just agree to co-broke and go 50-50. But let's spend 30 minutes a day doing this. You'll get so much more out of it. And you have to apply this continuously, right? So my ask is connect with me on Instagram. We share all kinds of interesting stuff. We have tons of content that we're going to have coming out shortly on AI, which you all really love. So take out your phones. If I did a good job today, you want to show me some love, follow us on Instagram. And now I will get through for the next 10 minutes as much Q&A as humanly possible. The first question that somebody had asked was, how do I get price reductions? So I would set up a meeting and say, hey, Alessandro, like, let's go through where we are, days on market. I will put this all, I will take the recording and make it into notes where all the scripts are in here. And we'll even give you the whole transcript so you can stick it in ChatGPT and do whatever you want with it. And we'll give you the slides and we'll give you a branded PDF of the keys to effective partnership so you can use it in your next pitch. But my ask is follow me on Instagram, and when you use it on your next pitch, DM me and tell me what happens. The fuel in my gas tank is your success. So price reductions. How do I get a price reduction? Alessandro, I'd love to sit down and grab like 15, 20 minutes, just discuss like what's going on with your listing, the positioning of your listing, and ultimately what our next marketing campaign is. I'm going to go through the average days on market list, and I'm going to say, well, we've passed the days on market. So I'll say, Alessandro, here's what we want to do. We would like to run a national digital marketing campaign targeting the feeder markets and local markets that people are moving from. We can measure the results on our proprietary insights reports. And then at that point, let's see what additional activities, showings, and offers we get. And if not, let's discuss how we can most effectively position your home on the market based on what other buyers are willing to pay for homes in this neighborhood. That's it. But you have to go through the process, right? You notice I went through a whole process with them and all this, and I didn't just get to the last slide that said, okay, buy now, right? Or list now, or this is the price. You got to run the campaign, do the insights reports, set up the calls, and then at the end, they have to see you really try. But pricing and getting price reductions also ties to structured communication. All of our clients have written communication plans. So if Alessandro hears from me every week, then when I want a price reduction, I've gone through the market with him every week. It's not like I'm like, blindsiding him with like a sucker punch. Or, okay, now they wanted something from me in the listing and they promised me all this stuff. Now they want something else for me to take lots and lots of less money. Then it's not great. What if they say they don't need to sell? And you're gonna want to flush this out in the beginning, right? That's why when they're tied to their price, what will happen at this price, what won't happen at this price, and what is your plan B, right? And if they don't need to sell, or if it's not selling at the price, you're gonna say we have 3 options right now. Number 1, we can improve the price to attract more buyers. Number 2, we can look and I could financially model out what leasing the home is. Or we have option 3, we should just take the house off the market altogether. Let me know which one aligns with your goals, and we're happy to support you 100% regardless of what choice you do. Go ahead, guys, bring it on. It's like live coaching. Any objection, any situation, I'm happy to go through it. I wish I could snap my fingers right now and like play the Jeopardy music, you know? All right, so if all of you are good, then we will put this together, the notes, the recording, the PDF. Oh, okay, perfect. The right buyer hasn't just seen my house. I would go back and I would look at the market, right? And I would say, based on what other buyers are willing to pay for homes, right? And this is an overpriced listing. So I would actually pull up all the other homes in that same price point and say, if you were buying a home in this price point, you had these options and they're all the same price, which one would you pick and why? And I would show them their house and 3 other ones. They're not going to pick their own home. But again, this is guiding the conversation and getting them organically to their own conclusion. Am I planning on offering the, yes. So can I give them like a sneak peek of what we have coming?
Yeah, in the next 3 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So the revenue roadmap, the next enrollment opens up in in October. So at the end of September, we'll be opening up enrollment. So this has been an 8-month project for us that will be done with shortly. We have integrated our entire business, all of our templates, scripts, listing presentation, buyer consultation into Compass One, right? So you will get a plug and play system that has everything we've done. We built our own custom marketing center suite of stuff, buyer consultation, listing presentation. We reinvented property brochures, just listing, just sold. So yes, it will be available, but it will be the first of its kind all-in-one system built into Compass. So plus it will still have our live coaching that goes with it. Somebody had a question about relisting, Alessandro.
Yeah, what are you saying to people who want to relist at a later time?
Great. Like, I would go through the plan. All right, let's take the home off the market. How long do you want to take it for? And then we're going to have to look at, someone looking at this house is going to see all the listing history, and that's why we highly encourage a private exclusive. And you're going to say, let's map out a plan. And then go through, how do we plan on repositioning your home on the market? We'll rerun another market analysis to see what other buyers are willing to pay and what your neighbors are willing to accept, and we'll go from there. I just want to rent it. Great. Let me map out those numbers for you and let's look at it objectively and see if it aligns with your goals. Well, I'm happy to hear that you learned a lot. Now you just have to go apply it and then share it with us, because that's what we love to hear.
Also, if anyone isn't using this yet, we have a new chief economist here at Compass, Mike Simonson. He is an absolute real estate data guru. So he's putting out weekly videos, weekly analytics reports. I'll put the link here from Mondays. This could also be another great resource for you to just watch their 12-minute videos every single week. Just another toolkit for you guys to use as a thought leader and expert, so that if people come to you with possibly misconceived notions about what the market is actually looking like right now, you can watch this and really stay informed every week.
I was really excited about this because I used Altos Research when I was an agent way back when, so I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, everyone. We are at time just about. Chirag will be sending out a follow-up email with all of this, as he said, all the presentation materials, scripts, and notes. So keep an eye out for that, probably by early next week at the latest.
No, we'll have it to you by tomorrow afternoon.
All right, perfect.
Yep.
All right, thank you everyone so much. We'll be back again next week with Melanie Klein. I hope you all enjoyed it.
My buddy. So you guys back next week for Melanie. She's great.
All right, thank you everyone so much. Thanks, Chirag.
Talk to you later.